So I think where that solutionary unit of study allowed them to, take what they knew and like see how it can, like how their voice and how their thoughts and that people care about those thoughts and those feelings and your concerns. And I think that was truly powerful for them. So my name is Jennifer Young, pronouns she, her, and I am a fourth grade teacher at Audubon in San Mateo, Foster City School District. It's my third year there. It definitely broadened my, I guess, knowledge to think about like what I could teach and integrate. So we're on a new curriculum twig. And so it kind of aligned really nicely with just the experiments, but also how to use some of the resources. I think we used a website about like how many people have been on this earth since like over time. And so that really brought into perspective about how how much resources we are using because there's so much population, and how that might have changed or why that has changed. And so thinking about those questions, so incorporating those resources, which is great because we were virtual learning all year. So really thinking about how to incorporate that into the curriculum. And I think it was pretty seamless, and it kind of connected, especially when I did the unit on clean energy. And that was a huge fourth grade component in our curriculum. So I think that, and then also just thinking about how I had always done a unit on environmental justice. And so that I think that also continued to work and add to that. I think some of the challenges that really incorporated through this was also doing this virtual, um, providing resources, having to think outside the box, and just like, okay, what can I provide them? um, I think they also had to use, so, they had to create like a catapult, and then it's like, okay, use those materials to think about how you might want to recreate your home, or, when you redesign your home for clean energy, or, so we used recycled materials, and just being very mindful of what materials we were giving and like how they can reuse it, and so not just like throw it away. So I think they were really creative in that. So that was a challenge, but also an opportunity for learning, for them to be problem solvers. That was kind of my word or phrase this school year. We're going to have to be problem solvers, and try to figure this out together. And I think it really allowed me to be more flexible in my teaching practice and the curriculum. So, I mean, we really developed together, and, really challenged ourselves in a way that, it would have looked very different in a classroom, right? Like if we were physically in a classroom. Um, but also, I think it was powerful that parents can see it at home, and little siblings, if they didn't destroy it, there's all those things. But, I think, and so you had to navigate that, right? You had to be open to that, and you also had to deal with that. And, where I think students were truly resilient and flexible and patient, right? In so many capacities. I think they have these thoughts, these feelings, they see things, um, and my class has a very diverse population. So I know they notice things like, let's say, like many of my students are from India, and that was an example of a health crisis. And, we had times to share and have open space and to sort out our feelings and to acknowledge those feelings. And I think it just, um, you know, allowed them to be their full selves and be able to like, hey, we can be angry at this, but like what can we do with that anger? And it's like, okay, it's okay to feel angry, but like how do we act upon when we're at a calm, right? And so having those emotions, and I think connecting it to SEL, in kind of general and speaking with that. And then how do we change that to action? So I think where that solutionary unit of study allowed them to take what they knew and like see how it can, like how their voice and how their thoughts, and that people care about those thoughts and those feelings and your concerns. And I think that was truly powerful for them to build confidence, to build agency, to build on their identity, to be their true selves. And I think it's extremely powerful when they can be able to share and voice their thoughts without feeling, like, sometimes I think they're told like not to have those feelings and things like that. And it's like, and then it's also okay, whoa, those are big feelings, but how to manage those emotions and things like that. Because of course, like, kids will say like very opinionated things and during it, and ask very deep questions and things like that. And but I think it's a very open and safe space that we need to create for our students. And where I think it just built that classroom community, but also like, you know wanted them to be more part of the solution, right? Like, okay, I'm not, and some really are very like, I have so many students that want to be engineers and scientists and all of that. And I had students who, like, we talked about the water crisis, and they want to, help their country in like how to prevent that and what to do. And who knows, like when they become scientists, that they'll have that lens and they'll think about that. So it's truly amazing to see that kind of come into fruition. So I definitely want to encourage more community engagement. And I think like where we can hold an exhibition or just like think about how we can present it to someone. I know that was kind of a challenge. I mean, like, it also trying to get through the unit and then also navigate through all these other things, with topics and things like that. But I mean, my other colleagues had done it, but just not to the capacity. And it was also hard to like go through it with them, or like, I can have the kids just come into my classroom and like share it with them, or, you know, um, other opportunities. So I think, to reach like all our fourth graders where it's not just so singular, with just my students. Um, and I'm hoping that, you know, that with that, like that can kind of start the change, where kids will start to talk about that. I know with my principal I had mentioned that, and I would love to like have them think about like ways in how we can, look at changes and be sustainable at our school. I know we like have people that kind of, we do have compost and all of that, but I don't think they see the realization. And there's an issue of like, they don't put it in the right bins and, things like that. But like, how can we be a problem solver in that, in engaging with that? And I know of other educators who have done different projects with that, or even thinking about like presenting to the board and like how, maybe our system, the way that we have it, is not working for the kids, that they're not seeing, they don't have enough agency because that's what like they're told to do. And if they are part of that process, that can lead to more impact, right? And then if like kids see that other kids are talking about it, right, and they're leading these changes, that can empower them, that they would want to do that their own sites, or things like that, or that talk, or they bring it to the middle school, or, you never know what that reaction can lead to. And so, that's what I hope to continue. And then also have like, um, other local organizations like, okay, I wonder how much, like, whatever the company at San Mateo or Foster City, whoever like collects the garbage, right? But like, know what the percentage is or the data, right? Like, and observing that. that's something that, we can have someone speak about, like, and how, like, what the impacts are, like, not just like, oh yeah, it harms our environment, but like to a kid it's like, I don't see that, but like, oh no, this, this percentage of this or this amount, like, so to give it more context, I think can be truly powerful. And or like with energy, like doing the actual thing of like checking our outlets. I know they really enjoyed, like, wow, I have 57 outlets at home, I have 10 like, and they were just like, whoa, like, wow. And imagine all that electricity that's powering that, and things like that. And it's like, let's look to see what it's in around in our classroom and like at our school. Maybe we can get a survey that everybody in the school like counts how many outlets and how many things they're plugged in, like, so those are the things that I kind of hope to engage with in person. So I would say to them that, you can do it. I know it might seem daunting at first, but I think you can really integrate a lot of what you are doing already. I think you can choose something that you're passionate about, or, depending on like your certain topics. And I really just incorporated my unit by pulling from what was provided from my textbook, or the curriculum, and then I incorporated other resources and took the experiments um, to a different level. And I think, the program really pushes you to do that, and to be flexible, where that they it's not, when you're thinking about experiments and creating and designing, it's not just a one solution, or it doesn't look all the same, right? And students really get to be creative problem solvers, creative thinkers, readers, writers, mathematicians, engineers, innovators, all those things that we want them to be. Empathetic. It truly incorporates so much more than we think, and it's truly powerful that they can possibly even like make changes, not only in systems, but in their personal lives with their family, because they can talk about that. It just provides a lot of different opportunities for learning and growth. And I think not just for the students, but for ourselves.